Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, and this is a viewer requested video on the Peavey MiniMega bass amplifier head. The first question that was asked by Luke Malloy is the ambient fan noise, and I have done this on a couple forums, but this is with the amplifier just sitting at an idle. It's pretty quiet. It does increase in speed when you start really playing hard through it, but it doesn't stay at high speed for very long. The amplifier overall is very thermally efficient, and I really haven't had an issue with it being overly loud. The next question that he asked is, what is the background hiss like with this amplifier sitting at an idle? Right now the gain is at 12 o'clock, there's nothing plugged in, and the master volume is down. I just got my 4 ohm 410 TVX bass cabinet. Again, with the ambient camera microphone. That's at the tweeter. Now if I turn on the volume a little bit. Hope that gives you an idea. It's very quiet. I mean, you're going to hear a little bit of hiss to let you know that it's running, but you're never going to hear that in a live setting. The next question that he asked was, what is the noise floor like on the XLR DI out? And you can choose a couple different options. You can do pre or post, or there's a pad if this output is too hot, and then there's a ground lift switch. Now, this is not an transformer isolated. This is an electronically balanced XLR DI out. And what I can tell you just for this particular setup, I have a simple PV6 USB mixer, and we have the amplifier plugged into channel 2. I've already set the gain to what it needs to be to have the best signal to noise ratio. So the gain is like 3.5, and usually the overall volume I'll leave at -2 dB and leave the master at 0 dB. We can listen to the DI out noise floor without a bass connected, and then I'll play a couple quick riffs through it, and my camera is going to be hooked up via the USB, so you'll hear the cleanest possible signal. One thing to note with this particular setup, it looks very basic and simple, but the power that's powering all of the devices, with the exception of the MiniMega, which is just plugged directly into the wall, I have an isolation transformer through my UPS battery backup underneath the desk here. So I have very clean power going to here. So there should not be any kind of ground loops or anything like that. In the event that you may not have the best power, or the grounding is not the best at a venue, you may run into some ground loop buzzing. And in those situations, I would recommend using what is called an isolation transformer. So basically the bass goes here, and then this would go out to your mixer. There's a transformer inside, it galvanically isolates, so there's no ground loops or any kind of buzzing. You may need to do that, but I haven't run into that problem, but you can listen to it, how it's set up here, and here it comes. right, Luke, well, what you heard was a direct feed out of the XLR DI out post EQ. The pad is engaged because that XLR is pretty strong of a signal, and I was only messing with the volume knob on the bottom there. The gain was already set. Now, what you heard, a little bit of USB noise, which is like that dee signal coming through, and I was trying to negate as much of it as I could because I was plugging in my camera to one of the main outlets here. And again, you're probably not going to run into that with this particular setup. You probably won't even hear it, but I used a USB ground loop isolator there for this particular demonstration. And I think the last question you asked was about the foot switch. You could check out my other video that I did for it. And these are latching types. They're pretty solid engaging. They're not soft or anything like that. And you can watch that video and take a look at what each one of these foot switches does. You mentioned about the effects. The effects loop is done by switch number 4, and that takes it in and out of the signal chain there. So if you're going to run any kind of bass effects in the back there where the effects loop is, then you can control it here with foot switch number 4. All right, guys, I'm going to end the video here. And Luke, thank you so much for reaching out and asking your questions. More than happy to do anything else on this particular amplifier if you're interested in some of the features. And like I had mentioned to you on the comments, the crunch channel, it affects the higher frequencies. It does not touch the low frequencies, so it's basically sounds like it's a mild distortion or overdrive, but with a high pass filter. So you're only getting the distorted tones on the higher frequencies, but the low end is still left intact. You can hear it through the DI. It's not my favorite. It works, you know, it's up to preference basically. But any other questions, please let me know. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching my channel. I'll see you guys on the next project.